Okay. Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new BEABADOOBEE record, Beatopia. This is the second full-length LP from Beatrice Christy-Laus, aka BEABADOOBEE, who blew up in 2019 off of some little indie rock cuts that had a nostalgic flair, one of which was titled I Wish I Was Stephen Malkmus, just to kind of give you guys an idea of the audience and vibe she was shooting for there. Her profile grew even larger as she dropped tracks like Care and Worth It and Sorry over the course of the pandemic. These tracks featuring even heavier helpings of that moody 90s pastiche, which is an era of music I'm intimately familiar with as I grew up during it. And while the attention to detail was there, maybe more than most acts throwing it back to this era, I just failed to see what BEABADOOBEE really brought to it. However, I was curious to see if she sparked up something more exciting or maybe even new on her new project here. And I suppose with this record we get a little bit of both. There are at least a few tracks that bring some heavy, driving, indie, alt-rock, and noise pop guitars from a bygone era, whether that be Don't Get the Deal, which has huge Death Cab for Cutie vibes coming off of it, especially on the vocals. There's 1036, which is one of the big singles off this project, which, yes, does have some enjoyably beefy but sweet riffs, though I do think the vocals get lost in the haze a bit. And there's also Talk, which is an attempt at a punchier alt-rock track with blown-out bass, fried drums. For sure, the melodies are there, even if the vocals do come off a bit too listless. At least the production has some damn texture to it. But Beatrice's vocals even fold under the thick layers of strings in the second half of the track Love Song. Truth be told, on this LP, she's still far from the strongest frontwoman, but there are moments on this thing that feel quite Billie Eilish in that we're not hearing the strongest singer out there, but the vibe and instrumentation complements her very shy and indirect approach, which is ultimately what's important. Whether that be on the song Sunny Day, which is this little piece of acoustic pop bliss that sounds like a summery radio jam from the 90s. There's a funky looped beat and relaxed vocal harmonies that match perfectly. It's a great balance of new and nostalgic and shows BEABADOOBEE's knack for idyllic beauty. There's also See You Soon, whose stuttering and glitchy beats pair beautifully with the progressively thick instrumentation, which gets dreamier and smoother with each passing moment. Beatrice's vocal harmonies on top, calling out into a beautiful oblivion. There's Ripples, which is a heart-wrenching acoustic cut paired with some wonderful string work. Easily one of the most stunning songs on the entire record, even though it is very soft in its approach. And the perfect pair switches things up wonderfully in a little bit of a bossa nova direction. Sure, the chord progression may not exactly be revolutionary, but the strings and guitars are elegant as hell, and Beatrice's whisper quiet croons strike this very sweet and melancholy balance perfectly. There are some spots on this LP, though, where the lack of novel composition ideas leads these songs down a bland rabbit hole, like the closing track, which doesn't have much to offer outside of being excruciatingly quaint, with some weird lines here and there like, when the lights go down, don't say I didn't warn you. I don't think that's legal in the state of California. One more bar that stuck out in an odd way is on the track Fairy Song, which I get the point. It is a track about positive affirmations and being willing to pick yourself up in the midst of hardship, getting out there, doing the damn thing, engaging in self-care. Though this one line, I know you're sad because someone died, but I'm not gonna sit inside and do nothing, which is a refrain she really hits on, and I mean, admitted workaholic here, okay? But like, if there's any reason to like pump the brakes, it's because someone died. Plus, I suppose the sloshy noise pop instrumentation on the bridge doesn't really fit with the vibe of the rest of the track either. However, there are some changes of pace in the track list I thought were pretty novel and interesting. Tinkerbell is Overrated, for example, switches things up with this bustling indie-tronic beat, as well as some sweet guest vocals from the one and only Pink Pantheress, which all kind of blends together, especially with the mix being as compressed and as dense as it is on the back end. There's also the refreshing Pictures of Us that sees Beatrice singing over what seems like some really angular Midwestern emo guitars. Pretty cool to see the 1975's Matt Healy with a co-writing credit on this one too. There's a lot of touching lyrics on this track, and easily one of the strongest and most mature melodies on the entire LP as well. She reminded me that God starts with a capital. I think the group vocal approach on this track works really well too. The only issue that I have with it is that it reaches this crescendo point super early, so it just kind of builds up very fast, and once it's there, it really has nowhere else to go. But with all that being said, impressed with the majority of the tracks on this record. Really a pretty clear improvement in terms of personality, songwriting, style. from the debut. And I'm actually pretty interested to see where BEABADOOBEE goes from here, now that we are not kind of using that whole 90s nostalgia thing as just a crutch, as now we're engaging with some better lyricism, some versatility, some higher quality production, songs that feel like they have more going for them other than a connection to the past. So there you go, enjoying this one a bit, and certainly encourage you guys to as well. Feeling a strong 6 to a light 7 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or a link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, BEABADOOBEE, forever.